Convicted of terrorism for anti-apartheid activities as a teenager and imprisoned on Robben Island, Dikgang Moseneke never gave up on his dream to practice law, taking on a system that was determined to stop him.
The Law Society argued that I was, not fit and proper because, I had a conviction. That another argument that I lost my citizenship after Botswana became a republic. But the essential argument was, you're a terrorist, you shouldn't become an attorney. If that succeeded, I wouldn't have been here. I wouldn't have spent 15 years on the bench trying to make a contribution to our land and our people. I wanted to become an advocate. Again, some people resisted that. So one had to fight his way to becoming a member of the Pretoria Bar, which at the time admitted white people only in terms of their constitution. Again, another fight.
Against the odds, Moseneke won that battle.
I went to the Bar Council. I became a senior counsel under apartheid. And my letters patent were signed by Mr. de Klerk, who was president at the time. And just think about it careful, Karyn. I didn't have the right to vote. So essentially I was a slave which bore the title and the honor of senior counsel.
With the dawn of democracy, Moseneke was faced with a choice that many may have found difficult.
You could have chosen to become a businessman and made an extraordinary amount of money, but you actively pursued becoming a judge.
Well, the Deputy President, Cyril Ramaphosa, and I started venturing into business together after we were done with the Constitution. And we know that he has been very successful in business, and I have not been. I've been a judge in all of that time. Virtually all my life was in the practice of law. At the end of it, I had the privilege of being a judge, unbroken period of 15 years in the trot. So once the moment came, I knew that I had to be a judge.
Two former presidents, he revealed at his farewell court session, also played a role in his decision.
But even more emphatic was president of the time, who's here president, Mr. Thabo Mbeki, who in his characteristic way cleared his throat. I would imagine he took the pipe out of his lips and went, "Chief, you know," and paused. "You're one of the leaders of our people. You've no business to be business." Nelson Mandela pursued very much the same way, but he was a little more blunt. And I suspect he was sent on me by the Chief Justice of the time, of the Judicial Senate, and the President of the Republic, Thabo Mbeki. And as I said a little again, he said, Johanna, your people need you.
Moseneke went on to write some of the Constitutional Court's most influential rulings and has been praised for his towering legal mind. But he came under fire from the ANC Youth League in 2008 for stating at his birthday party that he wanted to use his energy to help create an equal society. He was quoted as saying that it's not about what the ANC wants or what the delegates want, it is about what is good for our people.
What I said at my 60th birthday is what I said repeatedly every single year that I sat on the bench. And that's the mantra it should be of every self-respecting judge. You don't serve any particular political party, ruling or not. You don't serve any particular interest, powerful or not.
But for you, not being put in the position of being Chief Justice when it was very apparent that, for instance, the now departed Chief Justice Pius Langa really wanted you for that position, that you were seen as the right man for the job. Is that something that hurts you, or how have you processed that situation?
If you ask me, did you want to be Chief Justice? The answer is yes. I've been in the legal space for 40 years. I've been the longest serving Deputy Chief Justice, and I've served under 3 Chief Justices and overlooked 3 times. But it's neither here nor there. I said at the time, and I said, listen, I don't need a title in order to be the good judge that might serve you well. So I'll be out there, going to put my head down, and I'm going to do what I'm required to do. And the rest is history.
And the fact that he had to endure such victimization for making a correct remark, and I like the fact that he repeated the remark today, just to show that he meant what he said. And if it was a cowardly person, they would have tried to spin it or to put it into context. But the truth of the matter is that he was right, and he will always be right, and those who victimized him were wrong, and they will always be wrong.
Moseneke remains unafraid. As he leaves the bench, he has spoken up against the racism of his former colleague at the Pretoria Bar, Judge Mabel Jansen. She faces a Judicial Service Commission inquiry over her Facebook posts suggesting that rape was part of black culture.
Those demeaning words hurt. I mean, they hurt deeply. Human beings are human beings are human beings. We like artificial distinction among people. We feed our prejudices with imaginary fundamental differences that are supposed to exist. And those who peddle racism, I think, do so at a great risk for all of us, not just for themselves, for all of us.
Moseneke says racism has the potential to deeply damage the country and its people.
We just understand that that is a powder keg, and we shouldn't play around with that. Particularly those of us who have lived right through it, right through the bad days and the transition, and now the relatively good days, and we can see now new anger swelling, and it must raise our antennas and our, to say, let's go and revisit this. Not all anger has been resolved, and it's being exacerbated by the fact that people on the ground don't see the kind of deliverables that they believe ought to be there.
Moseneke has fought racism all his life and nearly died in that fight. During the Truth and Reconciliation Commission, apartheid police officials applied for amnesty for trying to murder him on at least 3 different occasions.
Of course, they were given amnesty. And I wasn't going to get into that particular debate. Firstly, thankful that they didn't actually kill me. But secondly, it left me understanding quite fully that many, many people in our land were open to horrible, totally horrible atrocities. May God bless Africa. May God bless her people.
Despite all that he has confronted and endured, Moseneke remains resilient and optimistic. His relationship with Chief Justice Maughan, which began with both as seeming adversaries, is now a deep and very powerful friendship. Maughan has praised Moseneke for his grace after not being given the position of Chief Justice, a position Maughan says Moseneke was eminently qualified for.
The Deputy Chief Justice chose to focus on the interest of the nation and not his own personal interest. It was important to highlight it because it provides a profound lesson to every South African, and I dare say the global community, that we must so love our people, we must so love our country, our continent, and the world in which we find ourselves, that our interests should always come second to the interest of the people that we serve.
Moseneke has never missed a day of work, except when his son Bo died of diabetic complications. He describes his son's death as the great heartbreak of his life.
It was terrible to lose my son, and like you, he was diabetic from childhood and on insulin. It was devastating. Cabo, my wife, and I could almost not live through it. And I think my wife got the worst of it. It was very devastating.
Pivotal to everything he has managed to achieve and survive, Moseneke says, is his family.
We've done many things wrong, but the one thing we got right was cohesion within the family. It's such a gift. I don't know how further could I put it. We're so lucky. Starting with my mother, who's the matriarch of the family, but that has kept us tight and together and supportive. And within all of that, the biggest lesson is learning how to soak up pain, how to soak up challenge and overcome it.
Moseneke says he hopes his retirement will enable him to spend more time with his family, a hope shared by his wife.
Bear in mind, we have been married this year for 41 years, and for the last 40 years, my husband has been in and out, in and out. At least the next coming 40 years, I hope we'll be together now.
My wife and I are going to put up a herb garden.
Yes.
We're going to plant trees. We might start looking for pets. Yeah, we'll see. We're going to try a few things that will just ground us a little bit more. I hope to go up the Machu Picchu in Latin America and Peru. I hope to go to Tibetan mountains. I am going to reclaim, I would hope, my personal space. I've been in a public space for 40 years. You add the 15 years on Robben Island, it's a long, long time.
Karyn Maughan, Johannesburg.